Okay, so like I have promised, I'm going to do a wiring video on the Shogun. So everything that you see here is going to be dismantled, and I'm going to do a detailed wiring of the Shogun. The main problem with the Shogun is you really cannot just plug in everything once you have everything and expect it to work. So that's not how it works. There are some connectors that you might have to make. There is some twisting of the wire, some rigging which has to happen. So that's exactly what I'm going to cover in this video, and then also how to connect each and every part, each and every section. So the wiring is slightly different in a Shogun from an RX. One main reason is ground is not depicted with a black wire. It's a black and a white striped wire that depicts ground. So it's going to be little complicated for the first timers, but I have actually knocked out 3 Shoguns before this, so this is not going to be as difficult as it would for a first timer. But yeah, it is complicated. Another thing is taking everything apart is going to be a pain in the wrong place, but something which is to be done has to be done. So alright, I'm going to start taking it apart and probably put you guys on a time lapse while I do that. So stay here. So these are a couple of connectors that we have to make. One is most important. This is the connector that goes into the battery. As you can see right now, I have just taped it, but I will solder it. Also, this is the headlight loom, which is also pretty screwed. This is for the ground for the indicators. You actually need them both for front and back, because they usually connect to the plastic body, and getting a ground is not something which is feasible for them. Next is the brake wire connector. This again is something that I have taped for testing, but I will solder it. And another thing that I really love doing after soldering is, instead of just wrapping this with tape, I get this shrink wrap. So I ordered this from Amazon, because going to the city just to get this is going to be expensive. So this costed me around $150 for the whole thing. I would need maximum like this much, so the remaining will go into my arsenal of parts, but usually I lose these things. So keeping them safe is not an option that I have. I am also can blame old age, which I'm getting into slowly, so because of which I usually forget where I keep things. So but let's go ahead and start it. So I have a soldering iron. This is a Solderon brand, as you can see, but it is pretty old. This is the same iron I use for soldering. I also use this particular iron for punching holes in plastic parts, and for plastic welding. So this has been my trusted soldering iron for almost like 6-7 years now, but I think I would like to have a better one. Probably I'll get one soon. So I'm putting it in a makeshift stand that I have for this standard solder flux. So we have everything that we need, and let me quickly go and get a pair of scissors so that we can start cutting stuff and joining them. Okay. So we actually took much more than needed to fix those wires. It took a lot more time than I anticipated it would, but it's all good. The only problem I was having was with the old wires, which had oxidation on it, and that oxidation was preventing it from getting soldered properly. So now we have proper looms which are soldered solid. So now it's time to put these on the bike. Okay, so first I'm going to install the tail light connector. So it is just straightforward connecting two connectors. There you go. So that is taken care of. So next we are going to connect the battery connector. So I'll just move you guys a bit. So the battery connector is basically two females connected to a male. The reason why we need to do this is because there are two male terminals that needs to connect to a battery. So this is like a Y socket. So now technically speaking we should have power on battery. Let's see. Okay, let's check if there is battery power. So yeah, there is battery power. Indicators are blinking. We need to fix the front indicators. So yeah, we'll move on to that now. So I'm plugging the ground cable for the indicators. We'll focus on the connection later, so I'll show you guys that. So right now I'm just via connecting this there. So this is the headlight connections. I'll tell you one by one what connects to what. So this blue connector is for the beautiful lights in the instrument console. So you just need to make sure you match this notch by, there is a dimple here, so these two should be matched. You just need to press it, make sure everything is seated properly. Next there are two more set of connectors. Okay, so they are also kind of no-brainers, like, you know, these won't go in the wrong hole. So there is a 9 hole connector that is basically for the switch gear. So you connect that like this, so you match the dimple, match the lock, just make sure it slides in properly. Then third is the ignition lock, which is a 6-pin connector. So again, same instructions, you match those like this. Okay, so what you see next are a couple of connectors that are for indicator, horn, etc. So these two wires, the green and orange, is what I have in my loom, but it differs again. So these two wires need to be connected to the horn. So that is connected. Let's check if the horn is working. Okay. Next stop is this is the cable that I created to give ground to these two indicator stocks. So that connects into the ground of the loom. Point to note is this ground is slightly different from other grounds, because if you see, it's a striped wire, not just a solid wire. So that is connected. The next stop is connecting these indicators to the right So this is the left indicator. The left indicator goes into the purple of the loom. So here is the purple. I'm not sure if the camera can pick it. Yep, it can. So you just plug that in. So now that is connected. The next stop is you connect the other indicator to the green, light green one. So this is the light green one, if you see, connected to that. So now let's see if the indicators are working. Great. So let's just quickly see if it is working on the rear as well. It's working. It's working in the instrument cluster as well. Let's check the other indicator. That works. Instrument cluster works. And the rear works. Awesome. The Shogun wiring. There is a lot of jugaad that needs to be done on this. So you connect one to the pure white wire here, and the other end goes to the main orange wire. So that is connected. So see, the brake light is working. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be the most detailed wiring video that you guys might ever encounter. Next one is the headlight. And so that also needs to be color matched. Basically the yellow connects to the yellow. This white connects to this white and red. And then this goes to the ground. There is one for parking. The parking bulb and holder, I need to take it from my inventory. Okay, so there are other stuff that we can do. In the meantime, I can show you guys how the tachometer is wired. The tachometer basically has 3 wires. If you see, there are 3 wires which go into the tachometer. This is the ground, this is the main positive from the battery, and this is basically the pulse. So if you see, it's a black and red wire. This is directly coming from the spark plug, and it can give you a nice shock if you touch this while the bike is running. And if this wire gets grounded, the bike stops. So basically this is connected in the ignition switch as well. So this is the connection. You just match the colors. Okay, that looks well connected. Now we'll talk about this particular, the stop switch. The problem with this stop switch is it basically disconnects when it is, this is a continuity switch. So if you are running, it will connect both the wires. If you are not running, it will disconnect both the wires. So it being a continuity switch, there are some issues to it, so probably we'll look into that. But I wanted to take your attention kind of there to show you guys the rain which is coming. This is my house's backyard. Most of the guys might not have seen it, but the kind of rain which is arriving looks too good to not to show you guys. So I'll show you guys the weather. If you look there, it's fine. You go there, it's crazy. Look what big rain is coming. Anyways, so I'll go back and figure a way out to connect the continuity switch, and then we'll end this video. It's raining. I just took a couple of seconds to get my camera out, and I put this on charging. So the heavy rain and storm which was here is gone, but it's a pleasant weather. It's a nice weather to ride a bike. Let's see if we can do that. So we are at the final stage of the build. So I'll quickly tell you how to connect a couple of more wires. So basically the white and red stripe wire goes to the high beam of the headlight, and the yellow wire goes to the low beam. I could actually be wrong because this bulb has only one filament, so I cannot tell you for sure, but it is one of these two. And then this brown stripe wire is for parking. So you connect the parking brake to, the parking light, which is this one, to that. So guys, it's been raining non-stop since yesterday, so I have covered the Shogun up. It needs a good wash, so that is something which we have to do. So the wiring is completed on the Shogun. The only thing which is to be done now is the front mudguard, so that hopefully we'll get that done by this weekend. Another thing is, while I was fixing the speedometer worm, actually broke it. So that's one problem. Otherwise everything else is done. All electricals work on the bike, like indicators, then brake light. Even I've connected the rear brake switch, so that also works, like I said. So there is nothing much to be done on the bike. The tachometer works, everything is working electrically. It runs good as well. Another thing which is pending is I have to increase the height of the stand by maybe half an inch to an inch. And obviously we need to change the silencer, waiting for the flute to arrive, and then this is done. Another thing which is concerning me a bit is the positioning of the brake hose, but it's, though it looks very stressed, it is actually not stressed. There is a little bit of give in that, so that seems okay. So because the shock is at the maximum extended length, it won't go beyond that. It can only contract. The bike which I can use for daily is the Shogun. Rest all bikes are in non-working condition. So yeah, so now we'll start riding it since everything on this is working. This is vision to be one of the most comprehensive guide to wiring on a Shogun, because I have not seen another video on a Shogun wiring. So hopefully this answers your questions. If you have any questions, let me know. I have actually wired the kill switch, but the only thing is it won't work on a powder coated handle. I might have to run another line, so I have just run one line. So right now it is not working, but I'll make it work. I just need to connect something, maybe to this bolt, or maybe to some bolt where we could get a ground. So again, thanks a lot for tuning in. Now we'll hopefully start the riding videos of this, and I'll also tell you how it rides. So over and out. Thanks a lot.